Jagrata. The really deep teachings, Zen, the Tibetan Buddhists, the really deep Kabbalistic teachings, mystical Christianity, Sufism, people don't understand them because they're too simple and we're too complicated. So for example, here is probably the deepest teaching you will ever receive. Pay attention. The world unfolds and you experience it. Okay, you go home now. That is all the teachings you will ever need. The world unfolds and you experience it. What more is there? That's what's happening. The world is unfolding. It's been doing it for 13.8 billion years. It's doing it absolutely everywhere, every moment. Has never not done it. So wherever you stand, you experience the tiny minuscule part of what's going on. What's so hard about that? That's how easy it is. The world unfolds and you experience it. That's just how it is. It's how it's always been. It's how it always will be. There's nothing you're going to do about that. Depending on where you're standing in a given moment, you experience the part that's unfolding right there. If you look to the right, you experience a different part. If you look to the left, you experience a different part. There's nothing complicated about the whole thing. You don't need books, you don't need teaching, you don't need anything. Just reality. The world unfolds and you experience it. Okay, obviously you can't argue that's the truth. All right, that's the truth. Then what's so difficult? So why is it so hard? Why there's all this suffering? Why there's all this turmoil? Why is there anxiety? Why is there tension? Why is there suicide? Why is there all this disharmony? The world unfolds and you experience it. Well, that's what everybody's doing. That's all that's happening. The world is unfolding everywhere throughout the universe, and there's 7 billion people walking around the planet Earth experience the part that's in front of them. Okay, so what's so hard about that? Nothing, except this. You ready? This is very deep. I have a way I want it to be. Whoa. It just got infinitely confusing. It was very simple. The world unfolds, I experience it. But in between me experiencing it, I have developed in my mind, inside myself, I'm free in there to do whatever I want, I have made up. It's just so funny. Like in kindergarten, you played imagination and make-believe, didn't you? Okay? Well, you're still doing it. I have made up in my mind how I want the world in front of me to be unfolding. Okay, well, what's wrong with that? A lot. Why? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that is that the world unfolds and you experience it. You now added this complexity of there's a way I want it to be when it's unfolding in front of me. Well, what about all the rest of the universe where it's not unfolding in front of you? Couldn't care less. Couldn't care less what's happening on Mars or Japan or China or somebody's house downtown. I don't know the people. I mean, there's 800 billion, quillion, zillion things going on at once. I only care about one. What? The one that's in front of me. And you have made up a way that the one in front of you is supposed to be, and a way it's not supposed to be. That's the end of your life. You will suffer now for the rest of your life. You will have anxiety, fear, jealousy, insecurity, all kinds of things. Why? Well, those things weren't there before. Of course not. Why would they be? The world unfolds and you experience it. But if you put in between that truth a system that you made up in your head about how the moment in front of you is supposed to be and not supposed to be, guess what? It won't be that way. It will not be the way you made up. Why? Why can't it be the way it made up? I don't want to answer that. That's ridiculous. You drop down into the system that's been going on for 13.8 billion years everywhere, and you've made up how you want the moment in front of you to be, and you couldn't care about the rest of them. And that's just not even scientific. It's all tied together. How can you possibly make up how the one in front of you is supposed to be? when all of it is a whole, when all of it is dependent upon each other, when every single thing in front of you is because of everything that ever happened, and you weren't even here. And you're just ignoring the whole laws of cause and effect, the whole concepts of influence. And you're just saying, I don't care. I just want it to be the way I made up. And get mad when it's not that way, and get happy when it is that way. Your life is going to be terrible. Because it's not going to be that way. Every once in a while, it will look like it's going to be the way you made up. Psychology calls it projection. Oh, I can tell he likes me. Look, he's walking away from me. He loves me so much he can't stand to even look at me. Okay, have fun. Just like you made up what's going on, what you want the world to be, you make up what it's doing. He's lying to me. I know he's lying to me. Look, he's pulling on his ear. My mother told me that my father used to pull on his ear when he lied. He must be lying. What are you doing? Because the world isn't the way I made up, and because it is very uncomfortable inside when it's not the way I want it to be, isn't it? It's very uncomfortable when it's not the way I want it to be, and it's really uncomfortable when it's the way I don't want it to be. Admit it, okay? So you make it up. Remember, I'm going to keep going back to this deep Zen truth. The world unfolds, and you experience it. That's what's happening. I don't care what complexity you add to it. The world unfolds, and you experience it. Now, what you did was stick in between this entire mental system of wants and not wants, and likes and not likes, and preferences and hopes and dreams and concepts and views, all just mental made-up panorama. So that when the world unfolds, you don't get to just experience it anymore. It has to pass through this filter that you made, these dark glasses of preference. And if it matches, you get to feel good. And if it doesn't match what you want, you feel bad. If it matches what you don't want, you feel really bad. And if it doesn't match what you don't want, you feel relieved. And I'm telling you, that's your entire life. You're either feeling good because you got what you wanted, you're feeling bad because you didn't get what you wanted, you're feeling really, really, really bad because you got what you didn't want, or you feel relieved, oh, I didn't have to get what I don't want. So that mess you put in between reality, the experience of reality, becomes your entire life. Why? I don't want to suffer, I don't want to feel bad. And the only time I don't feel bad is if I get what I want or I avoid what I don't want. So I now am busy. Busy doing what? Busy manipulating reality so it matches what I made up. Why aren't we doing that? Trying to make people be the way I want them to be, trying to get everything the way I want it to be. So every single thing has got to be the way I want it to be. Otherwise I suffer, and I don't want to suffer. And so now you have defined your life as this battle. You are about as far away from the world unfolds and I experience it. You've entered into, don't you dare unfold that way, and you better unfold this way, or everybody's in big trouble. I'm going to make it be the way I want it to be. That's where all of war comes from. That's where all disharmony, every single thing that is out of harmony in this world because of humans is because they did what I just said. Because instead of the world unfolds and I experience it, isn't that interesting? Isn't that exciting? I can't wait to see what I experience next. It's a gift. What I experience is a gift. I didn't create it. Did you create the world? No. It's a gift that comes to you while you're here. You won't be here very long, but while you're here, you will experience the moments that are unfolding in front of you. A wise person says, thanks. Thank you. That was nice. Look what happened next. I wonder what will happen tomorrow. Who cares? It'll be fun. I will experience what happens next. That's all. It's been going on forever. I wasn't here, but now I'm here. But I'm not everywhere, so I'm only here. So at least be appreciative for your experience of the moment that's unfolding in front of you. Would you rather experience nothing? I'm going to take you out to outer space. Outer space is really, really big. I'll just put you out there in the middle of nothing and let you live your life there. What do you experience? Nothing. What's going to happen? Nothing. How would you like that? You wouldn't like that very much, would you? You'd love to get back down here and say the world is unfolding and I experience it. The problem is you don't compare what's happening in front of you to nothing. You compare what's happening in front of you to what you want. And that causes suffering. Real suffering. This is how simple it is to understand what's going on. You have to come back to the baseline constantly. What's the baseline? The world is unfolding and I'm experiencing it. A spiritual being, that's it. They reach that point. It's called be here now. It's called, coming into the moment. It's called honoring and accepting and surrendering to the reality. They're completely surrendered to say, reality has a reason it's unfolding the way it is. I am experiencing it, and I honor that experience. I honor this. So instead of that, what we do is fight with it. And it's futile. It's just the most amazing thing in the world. The world is going to unfold the way it does. It has so many forces behind it. If your great-great-great-grandmother didn't meet your great-great-great-grandfather, you ain't here. Well, what did you have to do with great-great-great-great-grandma meeting great-great-great-grandpa? Nothing. That's how much you have to do with anything. It all is the result of everything that ever happened, isn't it? And then you drop in here and start bossing everybody around. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard of. There are reasons that things are the way they are. It doesn't mean you can't work with them. It doesn't mean you can't bring about change. You are part of the system that's unfolding in the future. You're not part of the past. The past is over. Nobody's ever changed the past. And I'm going to be very careful. Let's talk about it this way. That which you are now experiencing is the past. The moment you experience it, it already happened. Or you wouldn't be experiencing it. You are not changing what already happened. You can have an influence on what will happen. And we'll talk about that. But get it straight. You are not going to change what already happened, are you? But you try. Take it back. Take it back right now. You know you shouldn't have said that to me. You know I don't like that. Take it back. There's no taking it back. Can't put it on rewind. It actually happened. And you can't handle it. So you just quietly stop and realize if you can't handle reality, you're in big trouble. So what spirituality is about is bridging the gap between the world unfolds, yes it does, and I experience it, yes you do. What's wrong with that? The starting position has to be, and I know you're not ready, has to be nothing. There's nothing wrong with that reality, because that is reality. The world unfolds, you experience it. And then understand why it's so difficult to think of doing such a thing. Because you have really put a lot of emphasis on this stuff you built up in your mind about how you want things to be and how you don't want them to be. You've literally made that your life. Life is not your life. Those thought patterns are your life. You haven't devoted yourself to reality. You haven't devoted yourself to life. You devoted yourself to your thought patterns. You make up in your head what you want someone to say, what you want somebody to do, what you want tomorrow to show, what you want the weather to be like tomorrow. You do it with the weather. I'm going camping with Johnny, and we've never gone out before, and he likes camping, and it can't rain. If it rains, the whole date is over, and I want to go, it better not rain. Oh my God, you're freaking out, not about the rain, about the possibility that it might rain. It's not even raining. It's not even that you can't handle reality. You can't handle your thought about reality, what it might be. Well, if you can't handle your thought about what might be, you can have any thought you want, and it'll make a complete mess of your life. And that's what's going on. That's why life is difficult. Life is not difficult. The world unfolds, and you experience it. How difficult is that? But it's really difficult if you make up in your head how it's supposed to unfold and how it's not supposed to unfold, and you commit yourself completely to that value system inside your head of likes and dislikes, the world is so difficult you don't want to get up in the morning. And you know what I'm talking about. You wake up in the morning, you're worried. What are you worried about? Most people are worried to death when they wake up in the morning. They don't wake up happy. They don't wake up excited and enthused to go see what's going to happen today. They wake up scared to death. Scared to death of what they did yesterday, and somebody might find out, or what's going to happen today. What if this happens, or if that? Do you understand that? Watch your thoughts when you wake up. That's because you've committed yourself to this system in your head of how it's supposed to be and how you want it to be. And you're so committed to it that you can't, even if no matter how much I talk to you, you're going to walk out here committed to it. You got to do some serious work on yourself. It's almost like getting off of drugs. It's an addiction. You're completely addicting to thinking the only way you can be happy is if everything's the way you want it to be. And you're completely addicted to thinking that your life is over if something you don't want to happen happens. We're just lost in this. Exactly the same as a drug addict thinks, I'll only be okay if I get a hit. That's the only way I'm going to be okay. And devotes their life to that drug. You have devoted your life to this concept that in order for you to be happy, you have to get what you want, and that you can never be happy if you get what you don't want. Well, what do you mean? How can I be happy if I don't get what I want, and if I get what I don't want? The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. That is the most deep spiritual line ever written. It was said by the third Zen patriarch in a treatise called the Treatise on Faith Mind. And it's a one-liner. It's right at the level of the world unfolds and you experience it. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. I just showed you. If you don't have that garbage going on inside your head, all of a sudden, life can be beautiful if you're not hooked on heroin. Well, that makes perfect sense to us, but not to the heroin addict. No, they don't even want to hear it. They don't want to sit down and talk about it. They just want to find out how to get their next hit, because they are addicted to living off of that drug. We are addicted to living off the part of our mind that we made up that says, I can only be okay if this happens, and I'll never be okay if that happened. Whereas the deep teachings say the great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. What is the great way? A state of absolute joy and ecstasy and enthusiasm. Christ said, lest ye be as little children. What does that mean? It means you're open, you're enthused. You give a kid a rock and a stick and they'll play for 3 hours and come back and tell how much fun it was. That's trying to tell you something. Are you willing to enjoy the reality of the unfolding of life? The answer is no. Why? Because I want life to match me. I don't want to match life. Life's supposed to be the way I want. It's not supposed to rain tomorrow. You're supposed to like me and not him. Every single thing. When I get older, my skin's not supposed to get wrinkles or anything, and the hair's not supposed to turn gray, and not supposed to get varicose veins. No, 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 no. No. In fact, there's no getting older, and there's no dying. Don't even mention the word. I don't like the word. You are so cute. That's just adorable. You're going to get old. It's going to get wrinkly. And you're going to die. That is what's going to happen. And if you make up in your head that you don't want it to, you could be a basket case. You're going to get upset every time somebody talks about death. You're going to freak out when you see somebody really old and go like that. Right? You don't realize these things you have made up in your head are destroying your life. But they're telling you that we're not destroying your life, we're the purpose of your life. Getting what you want is what it's all about. You need to get this, you need to not get that. I swear, I want you to hear it as heroin talking to you. Imagine how beautiful life can be if you're not addicted to a drug. That's not what the drug's saying to you. The drug's saying, I am the meaning of your life. I make it beautiful. And that's the drug talking. I'm telling you, I want you to see that mind with its preferences of like and dislike exactly the same as a drug. I want you to understand it's telling you, you will only be okay if you get me what I want. Isn't it telling you that? And you will never be okay if you let happen what I don't want. And it drives you crazy, doesn't it? If it even thinks that something might happen it doesn't want, even if it's not happening, you freak. So what deep spirituality says is I want you to have a beautiful life. It's not about renouncing life. It's about having a beautiful life, about enjoying, inspired, engaged, and totally turned on by every moment of every second of your life. From the moment you wake up in the morning, it's like this, I'm back! Hey, look, the room's still here. Wow, I am in a bed, same one I went to bed in. If you understand quantum physics, it's really weird that the thing's still there. They tell you they don't pop out the same, those subatomic particles, quarks and leptons. Right? No one knows where they're going to pop up next. They teach you that we were taught electron rings, nice little circles around the nucleus. No, it doesn't do anything like that. Just arbitrary pop up, and probably there's somewhere near here. They have no idea where it's going to be. It just pops out of nowheres. No one can predict where the electron will be next. No one. There's just a law of averages and probabilities of how it comes down. So what is the probability that those quarks and leptons pop out of the quantum field exactly such that when they put themselves together as atoms, which they have to do every single moment, and then those atoms got put together as molecules because of the, covalent bonds, which are also the quantum particles, et cetera, that you're going to end up in the same bed you went to bed in. Let's just get it down once and for all and not forget it. The fact that your room is still there is a miracle. The fact that your body is still there is a miracle. The fact that anything still exists from moment to moment requires that the entire quantum field emanate itself in a way that generates the same stuff. It's pretty far out. So you're awake and you say, wow, I get to have another day. Doing what? Sitting on a tiny little piece of dirt spinning through dark, empty space. A tiny little thing like this. It's so little. And it's just spinning in the middle of nowheres. I get to have a day and see what happens on that planet. I won't see much. Okay, I'll see a tiniest little bit of what's happening. A lot more is happening on the planet than what you see. And I get to see it. And all you do is complain. It's too hot. It's cold. Oh my God, my hair gets frizzy. It's humid. And I think, oh, he's talking to her. I want him talking to me. And it's like, wow. You really want to live like that? It's unbelievable. That is what's going to happen. The more you buy into what your mind made up, which is how I want it to be and how I don't want it to be. And I will not be okay unless it's the way I want it to be, and I will be terrible if it's the way I don't want it to be. You have to wake up and realize that's the problem. The problem is not what the world is doing. The problem is not what other people are doing. The problem is not you're going to get old. The problem is that you might get sick a few times. The problem is not any of these things. The problem is that what's happening doesn't match what you want to be happening. That's what causes the problem. If you were open and receptive and you got excited about the challenges that are unfolding in front of you and about your right to participate in this constantly changing environment that's unfolding in front of you, now you're ready to live life. You're not ready to fight with life. You're not ready to hate life. You're not ready to cling to life. You're ready to live life. Life is a two-party sport. It takes two to tango. You can't just make up how you want it to be and then think it's going to be that way. You have to say, am I capable of dancing with reality? It's going to unfold in front of me. Am I evolved enough, ready enough, clear enough to say, bring it on, whatever unfolds. So now we get to the question, if I'm that way and I don't have all these preferences, why would I do anything? Well, the world unfolds and you experience it. So if it unfolds and you're interacting with it, it is going to call upon you to interact with it. If somebody walks up to you and talks to you, you're there, you're present in the moment, and they've asked you a question, are you really going to look at me and say, why would I bother answering? Then there's something wrong with you. If you were open and receptive and had nothing going in terms of likes and dislikes or anything like that, and somebody comes up to you and asks you a question, guess what you'll do? Answer them to the best of your ability. Well, what if they come up, I'm driving through some backwoods place somewhere in the country, and all of a sudden a farmer comes out of the field with straw and his hay in his mouth, he's chewing on a thing, and he walks up to you and asks you a question. All right? Well, you know, you might not like the farmer. You might be afraid. You might not like the chewing of the grass. I don't know. So you would have a reason not to answer. But if you don't have any of that going, and you're just driving, experiencing life, and all of a sudden this neat person that you don't used to interacting with walks out of the fields. You're from New York. You've never seen such a field before even. All right? And he's chewing on hay, and he's got this heavy southern accent, and he walks up, he asks you a question. If you have nothing going, guess what you're going to do? You're going to enjoy the experience of interacting with the life that just manifested in front of you. It's an exciting new experience. And it asks you a question. All right? And you're going to see inside, not your stuff of like and dislike. It has nothing to do with it. Not your fears and hopes and dreams and concepts and views and like that. Just, do I know the answer to this question that's been asked of me? And you get excited to say, I wish I could help, but I really don't know. Or excited to say, yes, I do. Now that was very easy in an isolated environment, but it might not have been easy to some people because they have prejudices, because they have concepts, because they have fears, because they had an experience once before. If you're clean and clear, what does that mean? The world unfolds and you experience it. That's all, nothing else. So it's unfolding, you interact with it, and you enjoy the experience. You bring your best game to the experience. You don't not interact with it. You just do your best to respectfully dance with reality. And in that particular case, reality was, do you know something? Right? To me, anything that unfolds in front of me is the universe saying, may I have this dance? That's all. Anything. Everything. May I have this dance with you? Obviously, it manifested in front of you, didn't it? It's asking you to dance. You can say no to God? Not a chance in the world. You do the best you can to bring the best you have into the moment that is unfolding in front of you. Why? What else are you going to do? Be some neurotic mess? You'll just see when you get open and you get clear, there is no neurosis left inside. There are no personal patterns or preferences or hopes or dreams or concepts or views. There's no I'd rather be sailing. People think that's neat to put the bumper sticker on the car, I'd rather be sailing. No. If you'd rather be sailing, it means you're not having fun with what you're doing. But it shows how weird we are. We don't even know what high looks like. I'd be okay if I was getting what I wanted. Go put that on a bumper sticker. Because that's what you're saying, I'd rather be sailing. There should be no rather be sailing. There should be no anything like that. There should be, I am open, I am clear, I am embracing the moment that is unfolding in front of me without preference, without concept, without view, without fear, without anxiety. Just, whoa, this is reality. Dance with it. Be there with it. Bring your best game just like you would to a sport. Why do you do the best you can at a sport? Some people I hear play golf. They take this little ball, it's very small, right? And they hit it with a stick. And they chase it around and they try to get it in the hole. If they really want to get in a hole, just pick it up, walk over there and put it in the hole. It's just the most simple thing in the world. You really get a hole in one every single time, right? It's like, well, what was your score? 18. If that's the purpose, but it's not the purpose, is it? The purpose is the fun of doing the best that you can. The purpose is the challenge of seeing if you can hit it better than you did last time. If you can get into the hole from a further distance. That's the fun, isn't it? Why is life not that way? Why is that not how you are viewing all of life? If the purpose of playing 18 holes of golf is to make it to the clubhouse, just skip the holes. Take your little cart and drive to the clubhouse. If the purpose of going to college is to get your degree, just miss the whole experience. You do it all the time. You skip right to the clubhouse. The purpose of playing golf is not to make it to the 18th hole and go to the clubhouse. The purpose is to do the best you can with every shot you take, to take it as a personal challenge to see if I can better myself. Every sport's that way. There's not a single sport that's not that way. You want to get the football across the goal line? Don't do it when there's a bunch of 11 other people trying to stop you. Just go there at night when no one's there. I tried it once. It just went right across. There's nothing to it. It's no fun. That's what I'm telling you. The fun is not getting what you want and avoiding what you don't want. The fun is to do your best with the reality of the moment that's unfolding in front of you. Not manipulate it to be the way you want. Oh, it's so beautiful to realize the world is unfolding and you experience it and interact with it. You first experience it, then it's always, every moment you interact with it is asking something of you. Every moment. The wind wants to blow through your hair and raise you and let you feel what this. You're interacting with the wind, aren't you? Or you're fighting it. My hair has to be. Please see what I'm saying. So if you go to school, enjoy every single class. But I'm not good at math and it's hard. Enjoy it even more because it causes you to bring the best that you can out there. Well, what if I bring the best I can and I get a C? The world is unfolding and you experience it. It will guide you. If you end up getting C's in math, you probably shouldn't be in engineering if you're doing the best you can. But if you do really, really well in art, well, I'm sorry what your parents say. It may be that's where you belong. It will guide you. It is not about your preconceived notions and concepts and views of beating your head against the wall because your mind made up what's supposed to be happening. It is an interaction between you and life. And you are willing to say, you lead. I used to tell the story like this. Traditional, ballroom dancing, right? The man leads and the one follows. But real dancers, you'll never see that. You won't see it. It is so subtle. There's just the slightest thing, and they're in harmony with each other. But somebody has to lead. Somebody has to decide when the spin takes place. Somebody has to decide when the dip takes place. Somebody has to decide what they're going. And in tradition, the man does that. It's not a sexist thing. It's just somebody has to lead. But you won't see it. There's so much in harmony that it's just the slightest little inclination, the slightest little move, and all of a sudden the whole harmony is there. That's how you should be dancing with life. She moves, you follow. You can't lead her. You can't lead life. She's been doing this for 13.8 billion years. You understand that? You can't decide what the weather is going to be. I'm sorry to tell you. You cannot decide what the weather is going to be. Meteorology decides that. El Nino and La Nina and the highs and the lows and everything else decide the weather, don't they? You will never, ever lead the weather, but you can follow. Oh, we're going camping. Oh, look, there's clouds. Let's stay home if you like the guy, all right? It's like all kinds of nice things can happen. The weather gives you great gifts. If you bow to it, if you pay attention to it, you have to be in harmony with reality because you're not going to change reality. So the only thing that's going to happen when you're not in harmony with reality is you're going to suffer. And so you get to the point where you say, I want to have a beautiful life. Well, there's no definition of what that is, particularly in terms of manifestation. But one thing I guarantee you it is not, is I want to have a beautiful life, and let me tell you what that means. What you should be saying is, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Doesn't mean that you don't interact with the moments that will all interact together and will end up manifesting what happens. You have every right and you have an obligation to bring your best game to the moment that's unfolding in front of you. And where it leads, I guarantee is where you belong. And there will be no tension, no anxiety, no neurosis, no fears, nothing. There'll just be this sense of, wow, look what happened. And you sit there and say, but will it always be good? Oh, I'm glad you said that. That is so funny. What is good? What she likes, you hate. What you liked yesterday, you'd freak out if it happened today. So what do you mean, will it always be good? There is no good or bad. There's realities unfolding, and you're experiencing it. It's what you make of it. If you make something beautiful of it, it's beautiful. If you make something ugly of it because it's not what you wanted. So the answer is no, it won't always be the way you want. I'm not teaching you how to get everything the way you want. I am telling you to love, honor, respect, appreciate, and interact fully with the reality that's unfolding in front of you. And what will happen is each moment will be whole within itself. And because you're not neurotic, worrying, anxiety, resenting, jealousy, fears, all of that's based on not getting what I want or clinging to what I want. Because you're not doing that, you're going to find out that it gets very nice inside. Why would it not get nice inside? You're not making it ugly. When you decide what you want and what you don't want, now you fight with what is. And you get all kinds of scars because it wasn't the way you want it to be, or it might be the way you don't want it to be. And next thing you know, you're neurotic inside. If you don't do that, you won't be neurotic inside. What does it feel like inside when you're not doing that? OMG. There are times, every one of you know what it feels like when you're not doing that. There are moments, just moments, in your life where you were not doing that. Somebody was holding you who was the dream of your life, and it was this intimate moment. It was just perfect, and everything was just right. The candles were just at the right level of glow, and there was no noise, and you had just eaten enough, but not too much too soon. I mean, everything has to be just right, and you melted into the moment. Usually it's an intimate moment. It could be when you first held your child. It could be the sun was setting, or you're on a boat somewheres and just it hit you just right. And this total sense of absolute well-being came across you, and you didn't resist it one iota, and you just melted into it. And there was this sense of wholeness and completeness. You know anything about that? It lasted about 3 seconds before you decided something was wrong, or you decided, oh my God, this is what I want. I want to stay on the boat. I don't want to go back. And bam, it's gone. Do you know that? Have you noticed that? The moment the mind starts with this like, dislike, want, not want, the joy, the ecstasy, the oneness stops. I'm looking at you. Do you know that? Have you seen that? Right? What I'm talking about is if you will work with yourself to move back into reality, back into the world is unfolding, I am experiencing it, and I am embracing it, I am interacting with it, I am honoring it, I am respecting it, I am giving it my best. That's all that's happening. Moment to moment, that state that I just talked about stays. It stays. It's what you feel all the time. Sometimes more, sometimes a little less, but it's what you feel all the time. Just this sense of absolute total well-being welling up inside of you, whether it's raining, whether it's hot, whether somebody's nice to you, whether somebody's mean to you, whether things go well, whether things don't go well. It doesn't matter. It's not conditional upon anything outside because you didn't condition on anything outside. That's what it means to be whole. That's what it means to be complete. Maslow called it a peak experience. Maslow said you have to work your way up the hierarchy of needs, and when you're done with all your needs, you will have these peak experiences. He called it self-actualization. Yoga just says, hey, you're the one who decided what you need. What if you literally stop doing that? You let go of the part of you that said, I'm going to make up how it needs to be for me to be okay. And just sat there and said, instead of making up how I need it to be for me to be okay, I'm just going to be okay. Now, of course, there's a price to pay. You got to let go of that part of you that's full of what I want and what I don't want and what happened before that I didn't like and what might happen later. You have to let go of all that stuff. That stuff that you think is so important right now, you even think it's you. It's not you. It's what you made up in your mind. You are the one who's in there experiencing that. You have to let go of the personal. If you want to be ecstatic, if you want to grow into this beautiful spiritual being, you have to let go of this neurotic human that you built inside your mind, who's saying, I can only be okay if everybody's who I want them to be. Good luck. It's just so funny. So net result is your work changes. The work changes from, I'm going to struggle and fight to make up what I want, make up what I don't want, and then try to make what I want to happen and try to make what I don't want not to happen. That's the purpose of my life. Where's that going to get you? Nowhere. Just fight, get anxious. You take the same energy and you say, I am going to learn to be free. I'm going to learn to honor and respect the moments that are unfolding in front of me. If a roach runs across the floor, the first thing I'm going to do is not freak out. I'm going to think about if I was in outer space and there was nothing for 32 years, I was just out there, and a roach ran by, he'd be my best friend. You get yourself open. You get yourself appreciative. Now, by all means, catch them, throw them out, do whatever you want to do. But do it open, respectful, with honor that that roach took 13.8 billion years to get created and run across your floor. It's just amazing. And so this is how you work with yourself. Instead of working with everybody else to try to make them be the way you want, you work with yourself to be open and respectful and appreciative. And then when you're clear enough inside, that's what meditation does for you, it's what yoga does for you, it's what mantra does for you. All the traditional teachings are helping you to get clear enough inside to where you're not married to this thing you made up called me. I did it my way. How about we do it life's way? That's what the deep teachings say. There is a way. You know what they call the way? The Tao. See, I left that off when I was talking about the deep teachings. The Tao is about as deep as they come. Right? Lao Tzu would love the starting of this talk. The world unfolds and you experience it. That is the essence of the Taoist teaching. The word the Tao translates into the way. Well, I just said that. Right? It's not supposed to be your way. It's supposed to be the way it is. Reality. Are you willing to come into harmony with reality and then interact with it with all your heart? You're going to find out your relationships are about 1 billion times better. You tell me, from a relationship point of view, which relationship is going to work out better? I made up what I want you to look like. I made up what I want you to look like when you get older. I made up what I want your nose to look like. You know, you're really, really nice. We talk about a nose job. I made up every single thing about you, how you're going to act, how you're going to be, how you would be in a given situation. When I married you, I didn't expect you to be like that. I made up you, and then I married what I made up. So there's one relationship. There's a person made up since they were little. They made up who they're going to marry and what that person's going to be like, and they're projecting it onto you, and everything you do that doesn't match what they made up, you're wrong. No, you shouldn't. No, you didn't do that. You would never do that. Oh, yeah, I just did. No. I'm taking you to a doctor. There's something wrong with you. Why? Because you don't match what I made up. But he'll never say that to you because that's how married he is. He didn't marry you. He married what he made up. So there's one relationship. Having fun yet? Here's another one. Boy, there's 7 billion people on the planet Earth. I'd like to get to know one. I know me. I'd like to get to know one. I'll get to know you. So basically, that means that every day I get to meet you. I can't know you. I wasn't around in your formative years. I don't know a single thing about any influence that all your experiences had. I met you when you were 26 years old. There's 26 years of moments that made you be the way you are. How can I know you? So I'm not going to make up a you. I'm going to get to know you. And however you are, I honor that. I respect that. I love that. I don't love what I decided you should be. I love getting to know you. It's exciting. You decide to wear something different today. Oh my God, look at that. I never saw anything like that. It's so cute. Rearrange the furniture. You don't get yelled at. Wow. Where'd you get that idea? That's far out. Not, you didn't ask me. In other words, I'm in it to get to know you. Which relationship you want. Wouldn't that be nice? Same thing with business. You don't decide what your competitors are going to do or what's supposed to happen next or how much everything should be. You interact with the reality of the moments that are unfolding in front of you, and you try to raise them so that they go in a nice direction to do this. You will be the best business person that ever lived. I've interacted with a lot of them. Those who make up the way it's going to be next year, no matter what, are not around very long because they're creating disharmony with the flow of the energies. Those who are willing to say, I don't know anything, but I'm willing to interact with it. I'm willing to bring my best game into each moment. They build something great. They do beautiful things. So it's true with everything. If you will come into the moment and bring your best into it and let go of these concepts and views and opinions and preferences and hopes and dreams and likes and dislikes and all that stuff that just mess with you so you can't interact with the moment because you're too busy grabbing it or pushing it away, too busy fighting with it, your whole life will become beautiful. That's what Lao Tzu meant by the way. Living in harmony with the way it is. And so you get peace inside, you get beauty inside, you get love inside, you get inspiration inside. You don't get tired like you used to. You don't have problems like you used to. No more moods. Let's get that straight. Moods you get because you like and dislike things. You come home and you're all upset. Why? The boss this morning at 9 o'clock said something I didn't like. What? He said he didn't like where I was sitting. He wanted to give me a different chair. Okay. What happened? He gave me the chair. I was so mad all day. I liked that other chair. I didn't want this chair. He shouldn't have the right to change my chair just because he's the boss, right? Now you come home. I don't want to go out tonight. I'm sorry. I said I would. I don't want. What's the matter with you? What are you doing bringing that home? All right, you just get to the point where you realize it unfolds, and I honor it. I dig it. I respect it. And I raise it to the best of my ability. And that's it. And then I go on to the next moment. And I'm not carrying this garbage. I never carry one moment to the next. I have no past. I only have present. I have no future. It hasn't happened yet. This is how I invest in my future. Let's say money. People talk about money, all right? I want to make sure that I have money for when I retire. So I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking about that. Well, no, the only way you're going to have money when you retire is to take some money right now and put it in your 401k. If you don't do that first little step of be here now, you ain't have squat when you retire. It's the exact same thing with your future. Put your heart and your soul and your mind into the moments unfolding in front of you, to give it the best that you have, to raise it the best that you have, to interact with it in a loving, honorable way. And guess what's going to happen in the next moment? It'll be clearer than the one before because you raised the one before. It's investing in your future. Instead of thinking about my future, I'm investing in a beautiful future by making the current moment beautiful. And then the next will be better, and the next will be better, and there'll be no moods, there'll be no ups and downs. It'll just be an upward spiral, and you just get higher and higher and higher, and your life gets higher and higher and higher, and everyone around you gets higher and higher and higher. Work on yourself, and wait till you see what happens. Everything around you goes up to the best it can, not according to your concepts, but you raise the energy around you, you raise the moments you're interacting with, and it affects everything. So I started by saying a very simple thing. I hope you know more about it now. The world unfolds, and I experience it. It's pretty neat. When was the last time you honored that experience? When was the last time you said thank you? You only say thank you when it gives you what you want. And you curse it when it gives you what you don't want. Maybe you should be appreciative that you're having experiences. Maybe you should be appreciative that 13.8 billion years brought you this. You should just be a cloud of hydrogen gas, didn't it? After the Big Bang, just clouds of thick hydrogen gas that made itself into this room. It made you. It took 13.8 billion years for those clouds of gases to be put together by the four fundamental forces to create every single thing you're interacting with. When was the last time you said wow, or thank you, or OMG? That's how a spiritual person lives their life. It's just more and more honor and respect that there is something in front of you, and then raise it. The highest life you can live is that every moment that unfolds in front of you is better off because it did. You can't do more than that. You can only interact with the moments in front of you, and if you raise it, when it goes by, you made something holier, you made something higher, you made something more beautiful, including you made yourself more beautiful. All right? Work with these things. Jai Gurudev.